Welcome back to a slow motion Monday edition of Drive-Thru Confessionals PreCalc. We are just going to do 3 or 4 types of questions from worksheet number 11. That way, if you happen to not be here on this day, or more importantly, if you are here on this day and you need a little extra help, you can go and get that help. So, let's do number 5 so we don't just do the easiest one. The directions state the terminal side of theta, that means theta. Theta is just a Greek variable, so you can consider that to be x. It always represents an angle in math. The terminal side of theta in standard position contains each point. Find the exact values of the 6 trig functions. So number 5 gives us the point -9, comma, -40. So hopefully you can kind of remember that. Let's see. That point's going to be in the 3rd quadrant. Left 9, down 40. I got some interesting colors here on my Interride board today, but I'll go with them. So what I do is I connect that with a line segment. And then if you remember, I always draw my reference angle to the x-axis, okay? And what that does is it forms a right triangle for us. This angle theta that they're referring to is the angle that goes from here to here. That is angle theta. Okay? We know that x is -9 and that y is -40. What we need to find is our r, which is the same thing as our h. So it can stand for radius or hypotenuse. That's what those letters represent. If you're thinking about it in terms of rotation, then you're thinking about it as a radius. If you're just thinking about it as a right triangle, then you're thinking about it as hypotenuse. What you're learning today or in this class in the last couple of weeks is just to kind of understand them both. All right, so we got to use the fag to find our h. So we'll say -9 squared. If you didn't write it as -9, it wouldn't matter. Anyone know why? That's right, Lisa. And anytime we square a negative number, it's going to end up being positive. So that would be something about this problem that you could leave out if you didn't like it. Okay, you could just totally forget about the negatives. 9 squared is 81, so is -9 squared. 40 squared is 1600. And I need someone out there with a calculator to do the square root of 1681. 41? All right, so now that we've found our r, or our h, to be 41, then you just want to look through your notes. If you look at worksheet number 10, you remember that sine of theta, let's see, let me write these down real quick. Cosine of theta, tangent of theta, cosecant theta, secant theta, and tangent theta. All right, well, sine is opposite. Here's our theta right here. That's where it ends. Opposite over hypotenuse, so that's going to be y over r. Cosine is going to be x over r. Tangent is going to be y over x. And then we remember for these, we just flip all of them. Okay? So, sine of theta is -40 over 41. Cosine of theta is -9 over 41. Tangent of theta, -40 over -9. And now we start to flip them. So cosecant is the inverse of sine, so we call it 41 over negative 40. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, so we do 41 over negative 9. And, sorry, this should be cotangent. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, and that's going to be, notice I'm just going to write it as positive 9 over 40, because a negative divided by a negative is indeed a positive. Okay? So that's how you would do number 5. Let's do number 9 now. Number 9 says sketch each angle and then find its reference angle. And number 9 says 135 degrees. Remember that we always draw our triangle to the x-axis to find our reference angle. So, somewhere around here is 135 degrees worth of rotation. Does that make sense? It's more than 90 and it's less than 180. It's somewhere actually right in the middle. We always go straight down, and this is our reference angle for theta. So, if we knew that this was 135, our reference angle, r theta, that's just what I'm calling it, how can we find out what's left? Subtract. Excellent. So, if we would have rotated all the way and kept rotating, that would have been a 180 degree rotation. So to find out how short of 180 we are, we do 180 minus 135, and you'll get 45 degrees. And that is our reference angle, 45 degrees. So the reference angle for theta is 45 degrees. Make sure your answers make sense for these. And if they don't, ask for help or adjust what you're subtracting. This is not a rule. You don't always do 180 minus the reference angle. It kind of depends on how many times it rotates. So if it said 200, okay, this is number 10. So if it said 200, we'd go to 180 and we'd go a little further. So it would go like right here, okay? Well, remember, we are going to draw our reference angle to the x-axis. So this is what we're looking for. So for that one, Rachel, you would actually, instead of doing 180 minus 135, you would do 200 minus 180. Does that make sense? And you're getting that angle there is only 20 degrees more than 180. Okay? So that's why I'm saying there's not a rule. Make sure your answer makes sense and get help if you need it. All right, now we'll just do 2 more. These are calculator problems. Find the sine of 150. That should be pretty straightforward. You're just going to type that into your calculator. However, make sure that your calculator is in what mode for this one? This one needs to be in degree mode. So hit DRG until you get to degrees. What do you get? 0.5? Is it positive? Okay, just to remind you guys what the heck that means. That just means if you rotated 150 degrees, keep going, then the ratio between this side and the hypotenuse is 1 to 2, or 0.5. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. All right, now let's do, that was number 12. Now let's do number 14, okay? 14. The cotangent of 135. Okay? Well, that is equal to the reciprocal of the tangent of 135. Okay? So that is the easiest way to do it. Type in your calculator. 1 divided by parentheses. Why does it say negative? No, you don't need to do -1. Just type this in. You can do it a different way, but and then tangent of 135, and then close your parentheses, and it should I gotcha. And so then it's also going to be -1. Is that what you're saying? But for a future one where it wouldn't be such a nice, easy number, that's how you're going to just do this. Identify, because your calculator doesn't have a cotangent button. Because there's not enough room on the calculator, and the point is, why do you need a cotangent button if you have a tangent button and you just have to flip it? So what I've done here is basically done the tangent, but then by doing 1 divided by that, I've flipped the fraction, which is all the cotangent is, and you get -1 as your answer. Okay? Rachel, I'll help you through another one of those later. Let's do one more, and that's the number 16. The tangent of pi over 4. The long way would be to change this into degrees. The short way would just be to change your calculator from degrees to what? To radians. So get some practice doing that. Did you get 1? You should have gotten 1. Today's dedication goes to Tiffany and Miss Palmer. We miss you guys.